The crippling question: are you letting fear win? What if I told you that in the next 10 minutes you could start to unravel a fear that's been holding you hostage for years? I'm talking about the fear of failure. Are you truly living the life you want, or are you constantly looking over your shoulder, terrified of making a misstep? It's a heavy burden to carry, isn't it? This fear doesn't just whisper doubts, it screams them, making even small steps feel like climbing a treacherous mountain. It convinces you that safety lies in inaction, but that's the biggest lie of all. The truth is, this fear of failure, this intense desire to avoid any mistake, is often a symptom of caring too much about the wrong things. You overthink every single possibility, every potential pitfall, every imagined judgment. You want success so badly, or you're so scared of looking foolish that you end up doing nothing at all. It's like gripping the steering wheel so tightly you can't actually turn the car. Today, right now, you can start taking back control, one small, imperfect step at a time. Let's explore how. The overcaring trap. Why wanting it too much holds you back. It sounds counterintuitive, doesn't it? How can caring too much be a problem? We're often told that passion and desire are the keys to success. But there's a tipping point where healthy desire morphs into a desperate neediness, an obsessive focus on a specific outcome. This is the overcaring trap. When you want something so badly that the thought of not getting it paralyzes you, you've given that outcome immense power over your present actions and your emotional well-being. You start to play not to win, but to not lose. This overcaring often manifests as crippling perfectionism. You believe that if every detail isn't flawless, if every step isn't perfectly executed, then disaster is inevitable. So you research endlessly, plan meticulously, and then you hesitate. The perfect moment never seems to arrive. This striving for an unattainable ideal is just fear wearing a clever disguise. It tells you you're being responsible and thorough, but in reality, it's keeping you stuck in a loop of preparation without progression. You're so afraid of making a mistake that you avoid the very actions that could lead to growth and success, mistakes and all. The problem with this mindset is that it closes you off. It's time to loosen that grip. Action over perfection, the power of just starting. What's the antidote to overthinking paralysis? One simple word: act. Taking action, even small, imperfect action, is key. Close the gap between idea and action quickly. Don't wait until you feel ready. Perfection is an illusion. The moment you start moving, you shift the dynamic. You take power away from fear and give it to yourself. One small step makes the next easier. Learn from real-world experience, not just planning. Maybe your first attempt isn't a roaring success. So what? You'll learn something invaluable. Confidence is built by facing challenges and adapting. Neediness repels, detachment attracts. Shifting your energy. There's a strange paradox in human interaction and the pursuit of goals. The more desperately you need something, the more it seems to elude you. This neediness creates an energy that can actually push people and opportunities away. Think about a job interview. If you walk in reeking of desperation, convinced that this is your only chance, that energy is palpable. It can make you seem less confident, less capable, even if you have all the qualifications. The interviewer might unconsciously pull back, sensing that pressure. The same applies to relationships. If you're desperately seeking approval or validation from someone, you might come across as clingy or insecure. This rarely attracts healthy, balanced connections. People are generally drawn to confidence, to those who seem self-assured and not overly dependent on external validation for their sense of worth. This isn't about being aloof or uncaring. It's about possessing an inner sense of security that doesn't crumble if one particular thing doesn't work out exactly as hoped. Unlocking freedom, understanding the law of detachment. The law of detachment sounds a bit mystical, but it's actually a very practical principle for reducing anxiety and increasing your effectiveness. It simply means you put in your best effort, you prepare, you work hard, but you consciously detach yourself from the specific outcome. You let go of the obsessive worry about whether it will happen, when it will happen, or exactly how it will happen. This doesn't mean being careless or apathetic. It means freeing yourself from the emotional roller coaster of attachment, the overthinking, and the paralyzing fear of failure that often accompanies it. Think of it like planting a seed. You prepare the soil, you plant the seed carefully, you water it, and you make sure it gets sunlight. You do everything in your power to help it grow. But once you've done your part, you don't dig it up every day to see if it's sprouting. You trust the process. You detach from the immediate visible result, knowing you've done what you can. If something in this video is resonating with you, take a moment. Hit the like button, subscribe to Awaken Your Potential, and share your comments. Real stories, real starts. Embracing imperfect action. Let me share a bit more about my own journey with this, because theory is one thing, but real life is where the rubber meets the road. As a self-proclaimed recovering perfectionist, embracing imperfection was, and sometimes still is, a conscious effort. But it's been the single most powerful shift in overcoming procrastination and fear. I realized that waiting for perfect was just an excuse to stay in my comfort zone, which ironically wasn't very comfortable at all because it was filled with frustration and unfulfilled potential. The key was to just start, even with shaky hands and a racing heart. I mentioned launching my YouTube channel with just a phone. It wasn't just the equipment that was imperfect. My early videos were far from polished. The lighting wasn't always great, I stumbled over my words sometimes, but the message was there. And by starting, I learned. I got feedback, I improved. If I had waited until I could afford a professional crew and a studio, I might still be waiting. The imperfect start was the necessary catalyst for growth and for reaching people who needed to hear what I had to share. It taught me that done is so much better than perfect. Then there was the decision to start my first business. I didn't have a fancy website, a huge marketing budget, or all the answers. What I had was an idea I believed in and a willingness to figure things out as I went along. There were mistakes, of course, plenty of them. Beyond the finish line, progress and who you become. We often get so fixated on the end goal, the achievement, the finish line, that we forget something far more valuable, the journey itself, and most importantly, the person we become along the way. Yes, achieving your goals is wonderful, satisfying, but the real transformation, the lasting impact, comes from the process of striving, learning, overcoming obstacles, and discovering your own resilience and capabilities. The fear of failure often blinds us to this profound truth, making us see only the risk of not reaching the destination, rather than the richness of the travel. When you embrace imperfect action, when you decide to move forward despite your fears, you are actively engaging in personal growth. Each challenge you face, each mistake you learn from, each small win you achieve, these are the experiences that shape you. Silencing the critics, living life on your own terms. One of the biggest components of the fear of failure is actually the fear of judgment. What will other people think? What will they say if I try this and it doesn't work out? We waste so much precious time and energy worrying about the potential opinions of others, people whose approval we often don't even truly need or respect. This fear of external judgment can be incredibly stifling, leading us to live smaller lives, to dim our own light, just to avoid potential criticism or ridicule. It's time to reclaim your power from these imagined critics. The truth is, most people are far too busy worrying about their own lives and their own insecurities to be overly focused on your attempts or your stumbles. And those who do take the time to judge or criticize negatively, their opinions often say more about them and their own fears or limitations than they do about you. Why would you let someone else's negativity dictate the course of your life? You have one life to live. The unstoppable you, trusting the process, owning your wins. Ultimately, the key to deleting your fear of failure, or at least diminishing its power to control you, lies in trusting yourself and trusting the process. It's about understanding that the world won't end if something doesn't work out exactly as planned. In fact, often those detours and unexpected turns lead to discoveries and opportunities you couldn't have imagined. When you operate from a place of self-trust, you know that you have the resilience, the resourcefulness, and the strength to handle whatever comes your way. You become adaptable, not brittle. This journey is about living life on your own terms. It's about defining success for yourself, not by someone else's outdated rulebook. When you give your best effort, when you show up authentically, when you take action despite the fear, you've already won. You've won because you chose courage over comfort. You've won because you honored your own desires and aspirations. You've won because you engaged with life instead of hiding from it. This internal victory is far more significant than any external validation. It's the quiet confidence that comes from knowing you did your part. So, what's your next step? Don't let it be another day of overthinking. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. Visit our channel for more resources to help you awaken your potential.